Anybody figures this out, God bless you. 702-329-6947. Press number 1. We'd love for you to be part of the conversation about the sports world, not necessarily about what's going on the field. We want to talk about the things that irk sports fandom on any level. We want to know what bugs you, because you know what? The platform of the Fan Action Nation is an opportunity to be part of a community where you just don't call into a sports show and have 15 seconds to voice your concern. This is a revolutionary movement for all sports fans to be part of.
And it's a way to raise, concern to issues at large. It's one thing to call into a local sports talk show and say, I don't like the quarterback starting this week. I don't like the performance of the pitcher who was on the mound last night. I don't like the performance of this big acquisition for our NBA franchise. This is much different. This is talking about those issues that have plagued sports fans for so long, that have held them back, when in reality, they're the reason why the product goes in to begin with. They're the engine. They're what moves the needle, and yet it seems they're conveniently forgotten about.
Yeah.
Right? What's that all about? That's what we're here to shine light on that.
It's funny, and I want to start with a topic that we both hit on the head as we were getting ready for the show.
Yeah.
Big movement in baseball yesterday. It is sort of a field kind of topic, but it is also a business topic.
Oh, it's a huge business topic.
The great Albert Pujols, who's destined for the Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
No question.
One of the greatest players ever.
And I think, they assigned designated for assignment, which is just a very long way of saying he's been released, as we know.
Yeah.
And he's basically a free agent for the rest of the year if he finds somebody or is interested in finishing the year, which I think I read that he wants to.
He's made it clear he wants to keep playing.
Right.
Yep.
And, it would be kind of cool to put a cap on his career if he were to end back in St. Louis, where he spent the beginning of his career.
It's always cool when those full circle moments happen, right?
How many years did he spend in St. Louis? Almost as many, because in Cali he was for 10 years. Oh, so I love when we have our guests who have answers for
Aaron just needs to be here full time.
We may make this a trio show.
There
what
you
do
go.
you think?
AAB. ABA. What works for the acronym?
Well, ABBA's already used, even though it's spelled
it's
differently.
only one. Well, it's just one.
We can do ba, but then we'd be sheep.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Ab.
That's what he likes.
Yeah.
Was that better than my other one before we went on the air? A Sosa? Okay.
Slightly.
All right.
No, but and the funny thing is that it seems like he was in St. Louis so much longer comparatively, because he was the best all-around player in baseball, or at least always in that top 3 or 4.
Absolutely.
For predominantly his whole run there, and then signing that contract that was so monumentally big, not for baseball, but for the entire world of sports.
At that time.
200, exactly. It's funny to think
because
that's
it's small now.
It's so funny to think, too. Like, to talk about the fact that can't even hold a candle to some of the contracts you see now. But in 2011, late 2011, everyone's jaws were on the floor collectively. And here we are, and that now comes full circle. And you look at his run with the Angels comparatively, and obviously it doesn't hold up. But the problem with that now is everyone's immediately going to – it's like the recency bias. You go off or what have you done for me lately? You go off the most recent thing you've seen. And to me, it just sucks because, for one, personally, he's just one of my all-time favorite players.
Right.
He's one of the most talented players in the history of the game. And it just kind of –
and he gives back to communities.
Yeah, exactly. Beloved player as a guy. He's
Absolutely.
Humble, likable, face of the franchise type of guy in every way, shape, or form, and has never rubbed anyone the wrong way. And it just kind of sucks that this is the last thing you think of him, someone who underperformed and didn't quite play up to, not even remotely play up to what he was paid.
Right.
And I don't think that's the full story on Albert Pujols, because that would be very unfair to tell that story, but it's going to be part of it now.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And that's a lot of reason why fans of teams don't want the superstar signed for 10 years. 5, 6, okay, you can deal with it with options, but look, A-Rod, he signed a 10-year deal. The Tatis out in San Diego, he just signed a huge contract for multiple years as well. So, Albert, towards the last couple of years, he also had injuries that kept him sidelined. Obviously, the COVID and stuff, shortened his season last year.
Yeah.
What was his batting average? Like 110, 150?
It was a little above that, but it wasn't.
It wasn't Albert Pujols.
It was rough.
Was it because he wasn't getting enough swings? Was his injuries catching up to whatever it was?
Is it just too long in the tooth?
Could be. Could be. But from a business standpoint, now let's look at the advantage now for the Angels, right?
And the last year he was actually, it'd be one thing if it was 2017, 2018, you saw some signs of it. The last year he was truly productive. The whole run, the whole season was about 2016.
Right.
So that's a while. Think about what the landscape of baseball back in 2016, completely different.
Absolutely.
So things move in that sport so rapidly, even compared to other sports. It's hard to stick around when it's such a numbers game. It's hard to stick around for too long.
Right. Absolutely. But you know what? It's like in any sport.
Yeah.
When you have that superstar, they want now, not Pujols. I'm not saying he's doing this because I think I think he's just going to want to finish this year out and then maybe call it a day total.
We'll see.
Okay,
Right.
hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to be honest with you. I even had a little inkling yesterday. Well, maybe the Yankees can sign him for a little jolt offensively.
Well, that naturally is going to be a big headline anyway, just because this is what the Yankees do.
But the
both are
problem
good
is,
and bad.
but the problem is, he's a righty.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's a lefty with the short porch, which could pay bigger dividends.
Bingo. And that's what I love too. Like the way the Yankees design. And obviously, this touches on every organization,
Right.
every club in Major League Baseball. But the way the Yankees batting lineup is structured, the batting order, the structure of it, the way they have their power players set up there, Pujols would be a detriment to that at this point, I think. So it's a fun storyline.
Plus, they need a first baseman.
Right, that's what's funny. Like defensively, it's now everyone's going to say, "Oh, but he has this going for him." But are you real? Is that what you're going to go after? Pujols at this stage in his career? That's not going to fit your problem.
But what it does for the Angels, okay? 10 years, what did he sign? 260 for 10 years?
240.
240 roughly. So now he's been released. Now, are the Angels responsible for the remaining part of his contract if he doesn't sign? What happens to the balance? Or they released him and they're done paying him?
Right.
Because if they're done paying him now, what's that, $26 million that comes off the books?
Yeah, on the table. Yeah.
That's big because you got Mike Trout coming. What's his free agency status?
Oh my goodness!
You got Ohtani now who's blown it up,
who's
pitching
looking
and
incredible
hitting.
day by day.
9 home runs for for this guy.
And Trout has been the best. Trout's almost the Aaron Rodgers of baseball, if you will. Those talented 5-tool player. We were talking about it with Neil last week. Outside of Mookie Betts and maybe Cody Bellinger, there's not many 5-tool players in the game right now, and he is the 5-tool player.
Yeah.
And you look at what collectively what the Angels have been able to do around him, it's not enough. Right. And again, the way you structure your roster is much different in Major League Baseball.
Sure.
You don't really surround a guy with weapons like you would in basketball or football. It's a lot different. But there still should have been some kind of surplus of talent or off-season activity. Easier said than done. I understand that. But it's hard to believe a player like Mike Trout isn't going to walk away with more hardware. When he's Willie Mays, he's vanilla Willie Mays. I figured you'd like that.
VWM.
Yeah.
Listen, I love Mike Trout. Originally from South Jersey, Philly area, so he's an East Coast guy.
So easy to root for.
Absolutely. I don't think he'll ever win a World Series as an Angel.
Not going to happen.
Now, how long has Trout been with the Angels? It seems like he's been there forever.
Yeah.
Because he was
the same year as Harper, so 2009, 2010, I believe.
Okay, so it's been at least 10 years.
It's been a long time.
He's not going to win a title in LA because they don't do necessarily what they need to do to go get over the hump.
No, it's much like Aaron Rodgers, the same exact situation and what Green Bay's facing right now, which is the second biggest story, probably the biggest story in sports aside from Pujols.
Right.
Pujols is more, because Rodgers is going to keep playing. Right. Pujols, there's a finality to it that you think, oh, what's the next step? Is there going to be a next step? So it's a little bit more of a wow factor.
Right.
But Rodgers, he's been disgruntled with the Packers for years. So you knew this was going to come to a head. It already has in the past, especially when they drafted Jordan Love in the 2020 draft. So it was just only a matter of time. Coming close again last year, MVP season, like what else was it going to take? You knew it was coming.
And the Packers have a unique situation is that, as everybody knows, it's really the only major franchise in any of the major four owned by people, not a corporation.
Yeah.
Individuals are the owners.
And I know we got to go to break here shortly, but I wanted to bring this up because I was texting a buddy about this. For a long time, there was like a novelty to that.
Right.
Like they're owned by the fans, they're run by the people. Right. They don't have the corporate structure that the other clubs do. That has become a detriment to the team.
Right.
Because there's no one solely responsible for the financial and the offseason movements of this team. Sure, you have the general manager and the front office, but there needs to be someone at top. Say what you want about Jerry Jones as a GM, but as an owner, he's one of the best owners in the history of sports, in the history of sports entertainment, business, all that. He's an absolute genius because of the way he manages everything from the top. Sure, sometimes he does have too much of an influence, but a lot of times it's the right type of influence because, again, he doesn't make it, he does make it known he's the head honcho. With the Packers, you don't have that, and I think because of that, there's a lack of direction in terms of how they're building the team. They've lucked out with 2 top 10 quarterbacks in the last 30 years, and the fact they have 2 Super Bowls to show for that's bad.
Well, I'll tell you what, the biggest story that I've seen today, and a buddy of mine made a post about it this morning, Rich Perez, who, by the way, is the guy that got me into this business 15 and a half years ago. He posted that the Raiders are really high on the radar for Aaron Rodgers to be coming here.
Which is interesting because the Broncos were the first team on the radar.
Correct.
And both those teams, the quarterback issues, Carr, not so much the Raiders, but Carr is every year he's on the bubble, it seems.
Right.
So he's just one bad, poor year away from getting the boot.
So for Vegas, with this being the first year, really. I
Yeah.
mean, last year they played here, but obviously we know about COVID.
Yeah.
But with everything getting back to normal in terms of 100% capacity starting June 1st, could you imagine when they officially open? I'm playing with my Squid
There you
Cup
go,
here.
right? Well done.
And I have the flip part right here. Anyway, can you imagine when they open up the first home game, Allegiant Stadium, brand new?
And number 12 comes, or I guess 12 would be retired, right? They have to
Kenny
protect a Stabler, right?
Yeah, so
that
but
would be
either way,
interesting. Yeah, either way, coming
you
out
see
Rodgers on the back of that silver and black jersey. Oh,
and
my
when they
goodness.
open up with 60,000 people, quite the catch.
And
So-
it's actually interesting to what you could get for Carr at this point if you actually were to let him hit the market, because the past 2 years he's been a lot better than people
Yes.
give him credit for.
Absolutely.
So it's an interesting thought. I don't think it'll happen, but hey, we can wonder.
Absolutely. All right, with that, we're going to step aside for our first break. Our guest coming back on the other side. We had him here last week as we talked pre-draft.
The return.
The return of Aaron Turner.
This is where you need Jim Ross on commentary. Business has just picked up.
That's right. We
Yep.
got a slobber knocker coming back after break. But we're going to talk to him a little bit about post-draft, the quarterbacks, and some other things while we have him here, because the draft is still big news.
Plenty to discuss.
Absolutely.
And until that first season caps off for these rookies, it's going to be a storyline, because you don't really know if the team made the right move or the wrong move. And in a way, it takes more than a year.
Oh,
so it's that everlasting type of trend, trajectory.
We'll get to further discussion on that after break. So with that, we're going to start with a message from our friends at Squid Cup.
Well, wouldn't it be awesome to never spill a drink again? We thought so too. That's why we developed the non-tipping magnetic Squid Cup system. It creates a cup holder when you need it, using the power and simplicity of dual magnets and micro-suction cups. Whether you're on the water or road, too few or too shallow cup holders will never be a problem for you again. The Squid Cup system features a 16-ounce double-wall insulated tumbler and an insulating 12-ounce can cooler. You can visit squidcup.com to order.
And makes a great toy if you want a little mini Frisbee.
You and those discs.
I love this. All right, Wahoos. Thank you, Wahoos. Please listen to their message. It was 1988 when Wahoos was started by the Lee brothers in Costa Mesa, California. They had a desire to blend their unique heritage of food experiences and bring them to the table for others to enjoy and feel more alive. With 6 convenient locations throughout the Las Vegas Valley, there's no reason for you to miss out on the great taste at Wahoos. As if that wasn't enough, take advantage of the $2.95 Pacifico all-day, everyday special. To find your nearest location, simply visit wahoos.com.
Get ready to kick off with Football Darts. Football Darts is the revolutionary new game that lets you play the game of football on a dartboard. Anything you can do in a real game, you can do with Football Darts. Kickoff, throw or run for yardage, kick field goals, even turnovers. Football Darts is the perfect game for football fans. Play at tailgates, at home, at work, even remotely. Find your team at footballdarts.com or online at your favorite store. It's almost like being in the action at the stadium. Get ready to kick off with Football Darts.
All right, welcome back. What show am I doing now? It's Rise of the Fan.
Aha!
Saturday's my
You're
busy day,
You're
man.
losing it.
Jeez. Anyway, welcome back to Rise of the Fan, the show that's all about the fandom and the things that irk us off the field. Our community is all about us having a voice. With that, our guest from last week, Aaron Absolute, we're going to call him that because, you know what? I wouldn't doubt, with all of his picks and things he said last week, we should go back to the tape. He was probably absolutely 100% right on.
Well, I remember discussing, because we had him on the Saturday before the draft, so a few days, brewed over. He finalized his mock draft. I remember he sent it to me, and I watched it once when he initially sent it, and then again right before the draft. So I knew just based off seeing that and then seeing what actually happened, he was going to have some opinions, as we all do.
So should we compare his picks next year against
Kuiper
and
McShay,
McShay,
right.
And then we have the Absolute.
There you go, the Absolute.
There you go.
It's a great wrestling faction.
There you go.
Speaking of which,
It sounds like a wrestling name.
That could work, brother.
Yeah, there you go.
speaking of which, I forgot to bring the box out. That tells you how crazy I've been. We have a trivia question.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't we?
That's a great segue, man.
Mr. Producer, can you zoom in
Wow.
on him so I can reach down here and grab the box for stuff?
And we are ready this week. No sophomoric efforts like last week. So here we go. We're keeping it with professional wrestling. Time of year, we're getting close to the Money in the Bank ladder match that you have every year. However, that started at WrestleMania back in 2005. So our trivia question for you today, who originally came up with the idea for the Money in the Bank ladder match? Was it A, Mick Foley, B, Chris Jericho, C, Vince McMahon, or D, Paul Heyman? So again, who originally came up with the idea for the Money in the Bank ladder match? A, Mick Foley, B, Chris Jericho, C, Vince McMahon, or D, Paul Heyman? And are you a wrestling mark, Aaron?
Yeah, and
I just asked him that. What you were reading that?
I'm already wrong because I was not thinking anybody on this. I was thinking Jerry the King Lawler.
That's actually a good guess, just because he's so involved in the workings
Yeah,
backstage, like Pat Patterson and all that. But
Absolutely.
not King. No,
Not the King. All right.
I'm already wrong.
So the first caller,
it's like the draft is my thing. It's all good, right?
the first caller gets a choice of your pound-for-pound products, your CBD wellness package, or a great gift certificate from Hand and Stone, a massage and facial spa for a 1 hour, 50-minute massage. It's a $99 value for free. Free. We need a little new day. Free.
Yeah.
Free. Okay. Enough of that. Let's get to the draft, Mr. Aaron. So
Okay.
when you pulled out your list, and I know you were following it, how well were your absolute picks? How'd you do?
I did pretty well. I might have got maybe 20% right. So the quarterbacks I got right, and then some of them I got right, but in a different order.
Okay.
For instance, Cal Trask, I got right to the Bucks. I just had him in the first. They took him in the second.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too far off.
Okay.
No. And that was understandable because Trask got a lot of first-round buzz later in the process, like around March. He started picking up, like happens to every quarterback,
Absolutely.
right? And some fall, like we had with Fields.
Yeah.
So let's stay on the topic of quarterbacks, because really leading into the draft, I think that was really the major topic forever.
That was the
right?
storyline. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what was your biggest takeaway in terms of the quarterbacks that were selected? You know, who do you think's going to be, who's in the best fit, who got selected by the wrong team, et cetera?
The best fit is going to be Trey Lance, but it's not going to be this year. He's going to learn, he's going to grow into the system. But the second best fit is going to be Justin Fields.
Okay.
Because he's going to have Nagy in Chicago. That was really the biggest surprise of the draft.
Yep.
Because they didn't have enough draft capital to go into the
Right.
top 5.
Yep. Right.
But they found their way at 11 when he dropped.
Right.
I was more surprised but happy as a Raider fan that he didn't go where I had him going, which was number 9 to the Broncos.
Right.
Gotcha.
And with the help of our Giants, absolutely.
right, that trade.
That's what's happening.
They
And
just dropped
actually,
back.
that
Yeah.
leads me into my question for you, Aaron. With that move, and again, it kind of benefited the Giants in a way because the Giants were able to address needs, and the Giants need capital. The Giants need talent. The Giants have star power in spots, middle linebacker, defensive tackle,
Right.
running back, quarterback is a project right now who's shown some potential here and there, but you need just that overall surplus of talent,
Right.
and they haven't been able to get that the past few years. So anything you could do to maximize the sheer volume of picks is
Absolutely.
crucial.
Absolutely.
So I think, and that was just my take on it, my actual
Sure.
question for you is, what do you think of the actual pick of Fields? You just said he'll fit with Nagy. Do you think this has potential to be an all-time great steal? Because think of the organization. We're talking about the Bears. Forever, this is a team that has needed a quarterback. What are your thoughts?
This is going to be a great pick for the Chicago Bears. It's going to be a great fit with Nagy. Be advised. He advised Andy Reid to take Pat Mahomes.
Yes.
So they groomed him behind the veteran quarterback. They're going to do the same thing behind Andy Dalton, except he may start by week 8.
Well, I was going to say,
He
I mean,
may start by week 8.
you know, I mean, nobody really thinks Andy Dalton's going to be the savior for the Bears.
No.
And they really, I think, I would say, if anything, I'm going to say 4 games.
Wow.
I don't think he makes
I
it
would-
halfway through the season.
I
Because
would-
Andy,
I wouldn't be surprised.
No. You know, I mean,
it's the Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert thing. You just
Exactly.
knew in a matter of time Tyrod Taylor just wasn't going to be the guy. Even
Right.
though you liked him and he had the
Yeah.
ability to start, wasn't going to be the guy.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this question. You had what? How many rounds? They had 5 rounds, right? They cut it from
7.
Oh, it's still 7.
Yeah, 7.
Okay, so the final pick I think is number 259. Is that was the
Give or
number?
take.
Give
Yeah.
or take. Give or
Mr.
take.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. So
Mr.
let
Irrelevant.
me ask you this: of what was the best selection of the draft based on a team's need from the draft that they filled?
Well, it's always going to be the quarterback because the quarterback is the key to every team. So the teams who got their quarterback in the first to third rounds,
Okay.
those will always be the best picks. Everyone after that is just defense.
Okay.
So the quarterback will always be the best pick.
With
Okay.
I think maybe with the exception of the rare offensive lineman who comes out here and there, if that's a need.
Yeah.
Like, because if you already have your quarterback, the next most important thing is protecting them.
Right.
But it's so hard to determine if you actually have your quarterback, right? At least initially.
Yes,
Yeah.
but at this point, teams who went offensive line instead of quarterback already feel like they have their quarterback or the best they can do for now.
Because they're protecting a guy they already have.
Which explains the Denver Lions. Look at me. The
Right.
Detroit Lions taking Penei Sewell at 7 because you have to protect Jared Goff.
Right.
With that trade, they feel like they have their quarterback, so we have to protect him. So you're absolutely right. But it's all predicated on the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you draft an offensive lineman and you have a guy who just can't play taking snaps behind the center, what are you protecting? So you have to
Exactly.
get the quarterback first. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
I
Folks,
think,
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think Cincinnati missed an opportunity. They had there was that lineman. I can't think of his name.
Panay Sewell, who's one of the best prospects we've seen in
They
years.
had an opportunity to get him, though.
Yeah, but their
yes.
selection was better by taking Jamar Chase.
Yes.
Okay.
The key for me with the whole draft this year was familiarity.
Okay.
Joe Burrow got his former receiver in Jamar Chase.
Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith.
Jalen Hurts got Devontae Smith. Tua got Jalen Waddle.
The only thing that concerns me about
Jamar Chase?
No.
Panay
The
Sewell?
the Bengal quarterback. I just said his
Joe
name.
Burrow.
Jesus
Joe Burrow.
Christ,
Because
Joe Burrow.
the durability after the injury.
Right, that injury, that left tackle, that's his blind spot.
Well, here's the thing. They drafted left tackle before, and they signed right tackle in the offseason.
Okay.
So they kind of feel like they have that position
enough?
filled, and then they drafted depth later on in the draft.
That's
Okay.
a great
So
point.
you can get more linemen. You cannot get another Jamar
No,
Chase.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It seems like the linemen on both sides of the ball, you can get anywhere through rounds 2
Yeah.
through the end. But I was just curious.
And they have something very special in Joe Burrow, assuming he's halfway
Right.
what he was before that injury.
Who's the backup quarterback in Cincy if he gets hurt again?
No one knows.
Yeah,
That's why I'm
because-
asking.
Exactly. But no, and it's a good question because that tackle they did have played very well last year.
Yes.
And if it were any other case, I'd agree with you
Yeah.
in that they should have gone protection over the weapon, but not this weapon.
Not
you have
this
the best,
weapon.
with the exception of
Exactly.
Pitts, you have the best weapon in the draft
Exactly.
and a guy who Burrow had the best season ever with.
Exactly.
So then that leads me into my final question for you, Aaron. In terms of the personnel, aside from some of those quarterbacks and skill positions, who do you think is going to make the immediate splash? Whether it's someone we know, someone we don't know. Do you have any guys on your radar for maybe Rookie of the Year, Pro Bowl, All-Pro? Who's on your gauge?
I think it's going to be similar to like it was last year with the offensive tackle that the Bucs selected, Tristan Wilf, because there's such a precedent set for tackles. That may be your Rookie of the Year is who tackles performed the best because he was close to getting Rookie of the Year himself last year.
He single-handedly, and again, bringing in Brady, but look at what that did to that team.
Yeah, he did. I don't think he allowed a sack.
No, he was incredible.
So I think my offensive player of the year is going to go tackle.
And rarely, can you think of the last time an offensive lineman or defensive lineman won MVP? It's generally a quarterback, running back, receiver.
Yeah.
Can you think of the last time?
No, it's a skill
No.
position
Right.
award. And the last time anybody was in a skill position was Lawrence Taylor in 1986 as a
Right.
linebacker.
Right.
And he's the greatest defensive player ever. So
I
there
still
you go.
don't. I still don't like the change in numbers rule. But anyway,
We need to come back to that after we actually get into the regular season because
Right.
once you actually, even the preseason, when you see it applied to the eye, and you're all like, "Ooh, I don't like that," or "I do like that," that's when the opinion will really have a
Yeah.
little bit more weight.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't like it now.
It's all like, nope, I'm
Trivia
standing strong
question.
on it. Absolutely. All right, so we're sticking with the world of professional wrestling because we all know professional wrestling, just like the world of real sports,
Now, that's
is
right.
big on
But-
fandom, right?
Before you ask the question again.
Yes.
I mean, I'm getting a lot of head nods and like, why are we asking a question about pro wrestling?
Because of the fandom.
And why not? With so many,
Man, that's even okay. We'll go with
think
that.
But think about how many
like it.
wrestlers have crossed over into quote unquote mainstream.
Yeah.
Right. John Cena, The Rock, a couple others. So we thought we would just have a little fun in the wrestling world since
might as
we're all
well.
wrestling marks
Well,
up here. Why not?
Me and some of my other, like the guys I know in MMA media who are such big wrestling fans, they have a catchphrase that everything is wrestling because in a way,
Right.
anything in the sports or entertainment world goes back to something professional wrestling kind
Yep.
of already invented.
Yep.
So speaking of innovations in wrestling, our question for today, who originally came up with the idea for the Money in the Bank ladder match? Is it A. Mick Foley, B. Chris Jericho, C. Vince McMahon, or D. Paul Heyman? So is that, again, who originally came up with the Money in the Bank ladder match? Mick Foley, Chris Jericho, Vince McMahon, or Paul Heyman? There you go.
Well, after the break.
Yeah.
Because first of all, after the break, when we come back, one of our great supporters and sponsors here of Rise
One
of
of,
the Fam.
she is the fan of the fan.
That is very true.
Yeah,
That's very true.
she's the number one.
Lisa Mascari from Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa will be on video with us. She's working hard, but we managed to steal a little time with her because she's a supporter of what we do here. We want to thank her for that.
Awesome.
And have her an opportunity to talk about Hand and Stone and why she's a supporter of what we do here at Rise of the Fan. Okay. Do you have any because we're about a minute or two early, and I don't
Yes.
think we have Lisa online yet. I'm waiting for. We do have her online.
Before
Okay.
we let Aaron go, I have one quick little
Well, I
question.
think Aaron's going to stay with us through the rest of the show. Why not?
better yet.
He seems to know sports.
Yeah, he knows a thing or two.
A little bit.
He keeps
A
up with it. Perfect. Perfect. There you have it.
Any other questions for the draft? Are we good to go?
Well, I
Lisa's
was-
already online.
Well, I was going to say we can go to Lisa if you want.
No,
I was
we're-
going to ask Aaron. Well, we have to go to break.
We're
first,
gonna go
of
to
course.
break.
I was just going to ask Aaron. Do you have anyone on your early radar for the 2022 draft? Like, if you have I don't know if you have your mock draft ready. Who do you think is going to make a big splash for the first round next year?
The most intriguing player for next year is going to be De'Aaron King
Yeah.
because he's about 5'10".
Yeah.
We're guessing, And
With shoes on?
yeah,
And we
with
still-
very good shoes on.
And we still haven't seen his full potential. We've only seen like glimpses of
Yeah.
it, but athletically, he's the
Yeah.
best talent in the country
Right.
still.
He's going to be the most intriguing pick next year. Can he play quarterback at the next level? Does it move to slot receiver, or can he stay at quarterback? That's going to be the most intriguing pick.
That's awesome.
You know who's going to make the best splash? Greg Louganis. With that, we're going to go to break. It's the top of the hour. You're watching Rise of the Fan. I know, I'm reaching today. Tells you what kind of day I'm having. Anyway, when we come back after the break, Lisa Mascari from Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa will join us on video.
Neil enjoyed that one.
I know, as much as he enjoys going to the dentist. We'll be back right after this.
When you think of relaxation, do you think of a massage? If not, you should. Las Vegas Hand and Stone Massage at Silverado Ranch provides professional spa experiences at affordable rates. You will be enveloped in soothing sounds and aromas on your way to total relaxation. De-stress with our full body massage to relieve tension, soothe tired muscles, and temper migraines. You can select from many options, including CBD, deep tissue, sports, and our signature hot stone massage. Call 702-941-7833 and start de-stressing today.
Get ready to kick off with Football Darts. Football Darts is the revolutionary new game that lets you play the game of football on a dartboard. Anything you can do in a real game, you can do with Football Darts. Kickoff, throw or run for yardage, kick field goals, even turnovers. Football Darts is the perfect game for football fans. Play at tailgates, at home, at work, even remotely. Find your team at footballdarts.com or online at your favorite store. It's almost like being in the action at the stadium. Get ready to kick off with Football Darts.
P4P Therapeutics has created high-quality CBD products from 100% organic industrial hemp and are tested for purity and potency. Our products were specifically formulated with boxing champ Mikey Garcia in mind, as well as maximum benefit for recreational athletes and all consumers. From gummies and gel capsules to lemongrass soothe bombs to potent CBD oil tinctures, we have you covered. To see our entire line of available products, visit pfpcbd.com and place your order today.
Boy, Mikey Garcia, reminding you, pound for pound CBD, all natural, effective.
Hi there. Welcome back to Rise of the Fan. You know, when you're talking during a commercial break and you're trying to wrap up a sentence and all of a sudden
It doesn't beat Neil last week.
Oh no,
That's an all-timer.
that's one of those mic drop things
Yeah.
that if you gotta
That'll
watch.
It'll be in the year-end compilation.
Oh yeah,
It'll be in the year-end compilation.
we'll
for
have it
sure.
covered. All right, with that, we're gonna go to guest online. Miss Lisa Mascari joins us from the hallowed halls of the Hand and Stone.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Well, we're gonna get there after here. We've been busy. Right, exactly. You are. Thank you. Yep. Well, just this, the support system of the business, and with sports and massage, they kind of go hand in hand. So that was kind of one part of it, and we kind of went from there.
You see how that correlation worked there? So everybody loved that here in the studio. So why don't you introduce? I mean, I know who it is. Introduce who's sitting there with you.
Well, it's Mother's Day weekend, and I am so fortunate because my mom is here from Pittsburgh, and I haven't seen her in almost 2.5 years.
Oh wow!
So so we've been spending the week together. So I said, "Come on, you have to jump on with me so we can say hi and Happy Mother's Day to everyone."
Oh, that is so cool. Did you want to say hello? Is that what you're saying?
This is Rose.
All right. Hi, Rose. How are you?
I'm Mom from Pittsburgh, PA.
Well, I won't hold that against you. That's okay. I went to school at Penn State, so as did Lisa. So okay, Pittsburgh is fine. can you turn on the boom mic? Because we have somebody here in studio that's sitting in early would like to say hello to you, so hang tight.
Hi, Mascaris. Both of you I know very well. Uh-oh, they're telling me to lower my voice already.
Just blew our ears out.
Hi, guys. How are you? It's Neil. You can't see my face.
We're
but you know
working
the
on
voice.
it. We're working on
Hi,
it.
Neil.
There you are.
There I am.
Hi. So,
He-
Neil, we drank out of 6 of your cups this morning.
6.
You want
Your mugs.
to mention who they were, or you don't want to
Of
offend
course.
anybody?
Well, yesterday she couldn't decide. She's met so many people this week. So yesterday she had Joelle Rigetti and Chris Jason, and this morning she had Giada Valenti and Rita Lim. And of course, I had Mark Maynard and he had Lisa Mascari.
Well, let's not go there, please.
No, wait a minute. Wait,
You had Mark Maynard.
Hold on a second. You know Aaron begins with the letter A. Why was Aaron Phillips not at the top of that list?
The Jewish alphabet go the other direction.
I am a member of the Hall of Fame, you know. No, I'm only
I
kidding.
know, you are.
What's that? Because I'm before you. Oh, stop it. Aaron Ellicott says he's before me on the list because of his last name. But anyway, no, seriously, you know, we are great. We thank you tremendously for your support of the Rise of the Fan as always. Your willingness to help the community really in anything that, quite frankly, that people have come to you and asked you about. And we appreciate that. You guys have any Mother Day specials for folks? I know you got something cooking.
We do. They're amazing. And you can do everything over the phone or you can pop into the spa. So if you want to call in, it's 702-941-7833. But we're doing gift card specials for Mother's Day. So if you are a member of Hand and Stone, you can get gift cards, a single gift card for $10 off or a package gift card, which is the best, for $20 off. And you always get that special pricing as a member. Non-members get $20 off a single price and $40 off a package. So it is the best deal, and it is the best gift for Mother's Day.
Well, Lisa, you notice the gentleman that's sitting on set with us here. The camera was just on him, Mr. Aaron Absolute, and I'm going to hook him up to come down and see you as well. So,
I need it.
because if
Aaron,
he does,
you'll love it. Everyone needs to relax. It's great.
Yeah,
Aaron,
I
you'll
need
love
it.
it.
we're going
And
to
make
sit.
sure that Aaron gives you my number, so I set up your appointment and take care of everything personally for you.
I'd appreciate it.
And I want to mention anybody that calls in or sets up an appointment, just make sure you mention Rise of the Fan, and what they'll give you is probably just an extra pat on the back or something. But make sure you mention us, and this way we appreciate that. Okay, so let me ask Mama Mascari over there a question. What's your Rose, right? Is that right? First name that I Rose?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to call you Mama Mascari because my mom's no longer with us, and I've missed using the word mom or mama. So, Mama Mascari, let me ask you this. So, are you a sports fan at all?
Yes.
So, living in Pittsburgh, where, of course, the great organization, the Pitt Panthers, in college, and your daughter decides to go to Penn State, what was that like in your household?
I'm a Penn State fan all the way.
There you
All
go.
right.
All the way.
We are.
Penn State, baby.
Right.
See, you got to make sure she knows where I'm from too. We have Penn State connection as well here. Neil's a Miami Hurricane. Where did you go to school, Brett?
Cornell College, the pride of Mount Vernon, Iowa.
Oh, so not the Cornell.
No, I'm not that smart.
Okay.
Not
Where did
that
you go to
smart.
college?
Grand Valley State.
Grand Valley.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we got a lot of great.
We
You went to Miami.
We
You-
represent the Midwest.
Yeah, well, that's all right. That's all good. All right. Listen, thank you for taking some time with us this morning, the Mascaris. We appreciate you. You know we love you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Mother's Day to you guys. Mama Mascari, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Enjoy
We
the
love
rest
you.
of
Thank
enjoy
you,
the rest of
guys.
the time.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. All right.
Bye.
Lisa Mascari, owner, partner of Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa over on East Silverado Ranch, which, by the way, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, but they are in the process of getting a second location here in town under Lisa's partnership.
Ooh, intel.
Okay? So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, well, but that's not part of Lisa. I can't. But here's the thing. If you have a membership through Hand and Stone, you can go anywhere in the country. There are 400
Yeah.
locations. But personally, I just want to plug Lisa's place.
Why not?
You know, but
she
there-
plugs us enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So she's got the one on East Silverado Ranch in Maryland, and then there's one coming up from what I hear in the Henderson area. Is the what? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at a microphone on the floor. Is that for the dog?
That's for the ghosts.
All right.
That's your backup, Mike, given how many you blow out.
That's
By the way,
that's the timeout, Mike. We
that's
punish
right.
people by making them sit on the floor and talking to
No,
them.
you have to lay on the floor for that one.
Yeah, right.
By the way, sitting in studio also with us, if he wants to just get on the, no, he's giving me the shake. He says, no, The hell with you. I don't want
That
to
was
talk.
quick.
I know. He didn't
That
even
was
finish the
it's like,
sentence. That's okay. That's all right. Okay.
I didn't even know he was there.
He's hidden behind the screens and everything. All right. Let's get back to our trivia question. Let's give it again
Absolutely.
because we're running out of time here.
Yeah. So, focusing on professional wrestling because, as Aaron said, why not? Who originally came up with the idea for the Money in the Bank ladder match? Is it A. Mick Foley, B. Chris Jericho, C. Vince McMahon, or D. Paul Heyman? So again, that's who originally came up with the idea for the Money in the Bank ladder match. A. Mick Foley, B. Chris Jericho, C. Vince McMahon, or D. Paul Heyman?
Can I guess?
Absolutely.
If you get it right, we're not going to tell you because we don't want to spoil it. But
Okay.
you can and we'll tell you if you're right during break.
My guess is Paul Heyman.
We'll let you know at break
Okay.
that it's not the right answer. But anyway,
I was gonna say you gotta leave him hanging. Just give him the truth.
well, plus it gave everybody a hint. We just increased our chances
Process
to 30.
of elimination.
Right.
I feel like I'm taking the SAT all over again. I don't know the answer, but I know that's not the answer.
Can I
Wrong
give
twice.
another
Right.
clue?
Absolutely.
Because we're down about 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's not Vince McMahon either.
Yeah.
You would think the owner of the company.
It's a wrestler themselves.
Chris, so that's why I left
There you
A&B
go.
up
Yep.
there.
It's
See,
not.
there you go.
Makes
We're-
sense
we're
because
wrestling.
sometimes the best ideas come from
The
the
guys-
actual
Absolutely.
employees.
Yeah, like shocker, the guys who are actually doing it, like
Right.
have a good idea,
Right.
right?
You have the best ideas.
Not the Caranos of the world, because I know
Right.
you're such a fan of him, right,
Oh,
Aaron?
yeah, big fan. Just
right.
you know, he must have a contract with Glad Bags.
He's gonna have a contract in hell. That's
That's
what
right. The phone numbers are on the screen there for you to call in 702-329-6947 or if you are within the United States. If you're outside the U.S., 1-855-502-4321. Either case, when you call in, press the number 1. That brings you right into the studio to give us your answer. We do not accept answers in the chat room. You must call in first. Just be the first caller and get it right. You get your choice of products for wellness from Pound for Pound CBD.
And haven't we gotten the correct answer every week we've done this, right?
So far,
Yeah. So let's keep it
No,
rolling.
we had 1 week where we had where we didn't
It
have
was the inaugural week. It was
Correct.
the first week.
Correct. So we did. So our boss told us not to carry it over. We started with a fresh question.
And from that point on, we've had success.
Exactly.
There you go.
There you go. Fandom in wrestling is very big. So I'm kind of surprised we don't have much going on. But in terms of reply,
The reaction.
Yeah.
Well, we got about 20 minutes left.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
We'll give it some room to breathe.
Absolutely. All right. So let me ask you this, Brett. We talked about Albert Pujols. The draft is now done. What in your mind moving forward is the hottest sports topic going on?
Rodgers, without question.
Yeah.
Because we're at the point of the offseason now, and guys like who love the draft, you do it as for a specialty. I do it like just for the sheer fun of it.
Right.
Once that draft process kind of ends and you're done with the 3-day coverage of the event, there's a lull, man, because free agency's done. The draft is now done, and preseason.
Well, June 1st, isn't there
right.
that's another
you have
date of importance?
You have right, but you
Cap.
Cap.
You take care of the cap
You
after
take
June
care of the
1st.
cap of June 1st, which is huge in terms of those small little details which could make or break you. But in terms of those headlines that attract attention and conversation, it's not as big until you get around the time of camp and preseason.
Right.
It's still a little bit of ways
Right.
off. So, stories like this with the disgruntled Rodgers and the Packers, they're good just for, the NFL's never going to lose relevance, but
No.
they're good for keeping relevance on the top stars. NBA is such a star-driven league. The reason why, and I know some people don't like it, but the reason why LeBron and Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, James Harden are talked about ad nauseum is because when you talk about them, immediately people go, oh, I want to get in on that conversation because I have an
Right.
opinion too.
Right.
With Rodgers now being a talking point, it's a way for everyone to voice their opinion, and some of them are misinformed, some of them are off base, but to me it's the biggest story just
Right.
because when's the last time, other than maybe the draft and talk about the quarterbacks, we had something where everyone essentially got all upended about it.
Right.
Because everyone has something to say.
I want to get your impression. What do you think happens with Aaron Rodgers for next year?
Nothing. He stays in Green Bay.
Oh, I think so?
100%.
He stays in Green Bay.
Yeah.
First of all, there's too much money to move.
Okay.
He's making, I think, about 32 this year,
Okay.
33 to 35 next year. After June 1st, they can play with the cap a little bit.
Okay.
But they've already had talks before the news of the trade came out about extending his contract
Yeah.
and making him the highest
So
paid
why isn't it
quarterback.
done? But according to a report I read, he turned it down.
He turned it down because
The line in the
why
s-
did you draft Jordan Love?
The line in the sand. Now it's trying to
there
make,
was
yeah.
no communication before that draft pick. Usually, as a courtesy, you say, we're going to think about getting somebody to groom behind you. They didn't do that.
Did Brett Favre get a call about drafting Aaron Rodgers?
And Brett
No.
Favre didn't groom Aaron Rodgers. That's
Right.
a lot of people say that's a part of the storyline. Rodgers said, "Hey, he didn't do anything to help me.
Right.
Why do I have to do anything to help?"
So,
Jordan Love?"
but his position and let's just say attitude, and I'm going to put that in quotes, okay? No, seriously, because the
Yeah.
way he's coming across in a lot of people's minds, not cool.
Right.
So how will that, if he does go back to Green Bay, how will that affect him in the locker room? and his relationship with the players?
Nada.
Nothing happened.
I'm with you.
Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers is very beloved. He's not liked all the time by the media because he doesn't give them anything.
Mm-hmm.
They see him as aloof or as standoffish.
Mm-hmm.
He is beloved by players.
Well, I'm not sure of his decision to get rid of Danica Patrick, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, he didn't downgrade with the one
I
he
knew
had.
that was gonna be it's not like he's totally out of the game.
He didn't lose anything.
No, I get you.
He goes from the track to the film set,
right. But here's the other thing with Aaron Rodgers. Once they extend him,
right.
There's also the possibility of a trade for Julio Jones.
Okay.
Because now that they have Kyle Pitts, they are more willing to move on to release some of that cap money because
he's holding up for the past 3 years.
They've kind of overpaid for Julio, and they can afford him in Green Bay,
Okay.
and then that will stretch some things out because the draft capital they've been wanting back for Aaron Rodgers is ridiculous.
I still say the fans of Green Bay, the owners of Green Bay, should somehow have their voice in what to do because they own the team.
And that's the problem with not having one head honcho when you have like a conglomerate like that. And the thing about Aaron Rodgers, I think is interesting. We so often try to make him into something he's not. This is who he is. He's always had the I don't care what you think, it's me against the world type of mentality because he slid in the draft. He got drafted way lower than he had any right being. Brett Favre didn't do anything to help him out. And no one really gave him a fair shake when he was leading into 2008 when he was going to be the starter. And this whole time, what has he done? Go on to have one of the best careers in the history of anybody in the league.
And last year, he had a great year as MVP.
And as an MVP. Yeah. And even then, only one Super Bowl to show for it. Now, I get it. Rodgers doesn't do everything perfectly. Sometimes it's downright his fault. But when you look at the lack of help they've provided him, I get why he's like this. And he's one to voice his opinion. So this is what he does.
But he has one more Super Bowl than Dan Marino. With that, we're going to step aside for a break.
You're not wrong.
You're watching Rise of the Fan. We'll be right back.
Get ready to kick off with Football Darts. Football Darts is the revolutionary new game that lets you play the game of football on a dartboard. Anything you can do in a real game, you can do with Football Darts. Kick off, throw or run for yardage, kick field goals, even turnovers. Football Darts is the perfect game for football fans. Play at tailgates, at home, at work, even remotely. Find your team at footballdarts.com or online at your favorite store. It's almost like being in the action at the stadium. Get ready to kick off with Football Darts.
It was 1988 when Wahoo's was started by the Lee brothers in Costa Mesa, California. They had a desire to blend their unique heritage of food experiences and bring them to the table for others to enjoy and feel more alive. With 6 convenient locations throughout the Las Vegas Valley, there's no reason for you to miss out on the great taste at Wahoo's. As if that wasn't enough, take advantage of the $2.95 Pacifico all-day, everyday special. To find your nearest location, simply visit wahoos.com. Are you looking for someone to provide training to your sales staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronphillipsvoice.com and book me for your next event or training needs.
Keeping it rolling, Rise of the Fan, Aaron Phillips, Brett. I was going to say, wow. Okay, little Rob Van Dam action. Brett Lawson, keeping it rolling here. And, I don't even know if we're going to call him a guest at this point because he's pretty much been our de facto third wheel co-host. Aaron Turner has been doing a phenomenal job.
We may have to do something about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we're giving the praises that Neil was just singing in here. Let's just give him the whole final segment.
That's because Neil is in my brain, which is something. Remember what I mentioned, emotion to something to you about threesome? That's what I was referring to, is having him join the show and do something with him. So,
so we have rubbers. We have Neil's rubbers last week and threesomes this week. Okay, great.
Can we go with trio?
Yeah,
because you guys are wonderful, but you're not that cute.
Yeah, okay? I was gonna say.
That's right.
Very likable.
Yes.
Not cute.
Trio. We're beautiful on the inside.
You're gorgeous on the inside. You're radiant.
It's sports menage a trois.
Oh my God. Okay,
But
you're banned from that. You go sit down in the timeout
Yeah,
with
you
the
have the
little
timeout.
mic.
if I get down to that mic, I'm never getting up. Not with my back issues.
Maybe that's a good
That's
thing.
true.
Yeah,
I can get down, but I can't get up.
So we
Anyway.
got the absolute one again. At this point, he's
Yeah.
co-hosting the show today. He's sitting. He's
Absolutely.
because in sports radio the term is friend of the show.
Correct.
To say that is an understatement at this
He's
point.
a brother of the show.
There you
Thank
go.
Appreciate
He's a
it.
brother.
I appreciate it.
And he's not a twin brother.
No, because you got him
I
right
got
here.
him.
You got
But
him
he
right
could
here.
be. He could be a brother.
I love these early
Enjoy.
like cameos by Neil too. He needs like his own entrance theme with pyro. That way we'll really know.
Like
every
he
time
needs
he's
more
here.
camera and microphone
Right,
time.
right, exactly. As if like his own forum and
So
platform isn't
how
enough.
about Neil instead of Norm?
Hey, okay. Cheese reference, yeah.
and then we could call his little segment.
Hey, Aaron, can we get a little, where everybody knows your name in the background?
And then we'll get sued for infringement.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then we'll call it Scenes from a
That
Couch.
might be a good thing.
Scenes from a couch, I like it. Yeah, I know, right? Publicity.
That also sounds a little hinky.
Yeah, man, we really are getting.
Well, I blame you for bringing up his line from last week.
Fair enough.
It's all
Scenes
your
from
fault.
the couch.
I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized. What do you want? from me?
Traumatized.
But I do have actually a question
Yes.
for Aaron because
Sure.
in the past 2 weeks, you joined us 2 weeks ago.
Please
to preview
clarify
the draft.
which Aaron, because I thought you
Oh,
were going to ask
absolutely.
me.
Aaron Turner.
Absolute.
So our absolute, our draft guru.
And don't bring in a bottle of Absolute. That
Why
is
not?
That is fully shunned on this show.
There we go.
And a little cliche.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
There you
Yeah.
go.
See, now we need a bottle of absolute.
The downside is that this show originates in Massachusetts.
Right.
And as a Yankee fan, I cannot allow this song anymore.
Oh.
Right.
Sorry. Cut the music, please. Cut the music. Cut it.
So you like no? Do you never?
I will bounce the check I paid you for airtime.
Does James Taylor make you like break out in hives or something? Whatever.
No, James Taylor's okay, but the show's from Boston.
That's true because there's not much of an aesthetic of Boston with James Taylor. You just like know he's from there.
Yeah.
And then it's just a guy on a guitar.
And then Neil will never let
Right.
me forget about it on Twin Brothers, and I can't let that happen.
I was gonna say, didn't he like originally from North Carolina and then travel up to Boston, which is
we
like
have-
90% of his songs are about? Right?
I wish I had the bell from the wrestling show. We've lost total control here.
Right, talk about a tangent. But I actually have a question because we had you on initially to preview the draft.
Yeah.
We've had you on to recap the draft. Great analysis, great insight, lots of opinions. But talking about the fan, what about you and our mission and our message to the masses? How does that resonate with you? What do you think is the biggest problem holding fans back today? Do you have an experience as a fan yourself to where you were hindered or had your voice quieted? What do you think about the whole mission of the Fan Action Nation?
I like the mission, but I don't. Let's see. As far as I never really felt hindered because some things I chalk up as business. We don't always like business, clearly, but
it's a necessary evil.
yeah,
sometimes.
it's a necessary
I get
evil.
you.
So sometimes with our love for sports, it's filet mignon, and sometimes it's a $2 steak.
Right, that's a good way to look at it.
Either way, we eat it, and what this network does is it says we're tired of eating that one. We're just tired of eating that steak.
Yeah.
Like, give me this one all day, like with garlic butter and shrimp on top of it, and you know what I mean.
This is redemption from
Right.
the dirty area we're
Right.
getting earlier. Now we're like
just tired of eating that steak.
right. And that's a great.
It's like buying meat from the 99-cent store.
It's a great metaphor because you're emphasizing the fact that it's not like sports fans are just going to full-blown boycott. They're still going to partake in these festivities, but
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Right.
Because you're binding them, you're basically handcuffing them in order. God, we're still getting friggin' anyway.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was
Go ahead. I wanted to see if you could dance out of it.
Yeah,
I wasn't
right.
saving you
Yeah,
this time.
absolutely.
By the way,
But-
we still only have a couple of minutes on our trivia question.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to
So,
mention that. It's
like,
on the screen.
And when you're hindered by that, and when you don't have the voice, it's kind of you're going to go along with it,
Right.
and then kind of grit your teeth with it. You know, you
Right.
take it with a grain of salt, so you're not enjoying the product fully.
Right.
If you're in the stands as Andy Coppell, our founder, was of Oracle Arena, and you have the phenomenon of the league, Steph Curry, in front of you, and yet your biggest beef is a water bottle. That actually means something. You know, on the surface, you may think, oh, why? You're at a basketball game. Why should that be an issue?
Right.
Because why should a water bottle be priced that much to begin with?
Well, you're absolutely right.
Right.
It's completely overcharging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what this network does. That's what this platform does. It allows fans to say, I'm tired of that steak.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
This segment
else.
is now
That's
sponsored by
the-
Outback Steakhouse,
Right.
and we'll send them a bill.
Right.
Right. Because you're not getting a $2 steak at Outback.
No,
You're not-
absolutely not. Maybe we get a steakhouse to sponsor our trivia question.
There you
Which
go.
I could read to the audience
Read
one more
to it
time
now.
because the clock is very much ticking
It's
now.
tick-tocking.
So, all right, as it is to Money in the Bank, which takes place in June every year, but Money in the Bank initially started as a match at WrestleMania 21 back in 2005. So the question is, who originally came up with that idea? Is it A. Mick Foley, B. Chris Jericho, And even though we eliminated the two others, our two other choices were C. Vince McMahon and D. Paul Heyman. However, by process of elimination, we have given you that, at least that much. No McMahon, no Heyman. It is either Mick Foley or Chris Jericho, and you have about 8 minutes.
Okay, so can I give a hint?
Yeah.
Because we have about 6 minutes left.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so here's your hint. This individual was tied to the year 2000.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah, that was a good hint.
you like that one? And he has something to do with walls. Walls. He's very connected with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually two good
Is that
hints.
good?
That's
Yeah.
2 good hints.
And you know what?
I
The funny
had-
thing is, it's actually not as much of a giveaway as some people might think.
I don't like cactuses.
Right. Well,
You with me?
That kind of is.
Okay. Well, no. But I mean, I'm trying to help eliminate here.
Well, you're
Right.
doing this for the good of mankind.
For the good of fandom.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help the fandom. So
Yeah.
For
I
the
don't
good of
like.
mankind.
For the good of
I
man.
caught that.
For the good of mankind.
I caught that.
very good.
That's
Right.
very good.
Thank you.
But don't call me dude. I don't love it.
You don't love it.
I don't love dude.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Now, if you can't get which one is the right
Yeah,
answer and all
right.
that, even if you're the slightest wrestling fan, then I don't know what to tell you. You have to tune in to Thoughts Count Anywhere a little more often, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rise of the, no,
Well,
but-
just know the countdown is kicking.
Yes.
It's ticking
yes,
now.
it certainly
10,
is. By the
9,
way,
8.
Mark Maynard says, great example on the steak analogy unless you're a vegetarian.
Touche.
There you
That's
go.
a good point. That's a good
Then
point.
you get you got a little bit more nitpick type of thing.
Nobody
but-
wants overcooked asparagus either.
No.
So,
Well,
Or how about this? We've been getting frozen vegetables. We want fresh vegetables.
yeah.
I don't
you
want
go.
any asparagus, but that's a whole nother story. Okay, we have a couple of minutes left. Next news I want to touch on with you guys is the NBA.
Yeah.
Lakers are having a lot of trouble with LeBron and injuries and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. Guys, give me your take on the NBA with about 4 minutes to go.
It's
ahead.
funny. My bit take is simple. It's so funny how all offseason, Brooklyn, LA, it's set in stone. And now look at where we are. People talking about Milwaukee, people talking about Philadelphia, and naturally so because we forget Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid. These guys are players too. And I'm on paper, yes, the Lakers and the Nets are the two best teams. But that was the beginning of the season we talked
Right,
about that.
right.
And we noticed early on that the Nets don't play defense.
Right.
That kind of is going to become a factor in the playoffs. And now once we realize LeBron's health is a factor for one, it's weird being reminded that LeBron James is a mortal man. That's like the weird part for one, at least on the court
Right,
aspect
right.
of it. And it's just weird knowing that, again, the Lakers, who seem such a sure, not maybe a dynasty, but maybe like a miniature version of Shaq and Kobe with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. We thought we could at least maybe see 2 championships. They may not even get close this year. So that to me is at least the way we're sitting right now. So that to me is the main takeaway. And obviously the fact that Steph Curry is just day in, day out blowing our minds, and it's to no avail because the Warriors, it's the Warriors.
Right.
Sorry, Andy, but it's the dynasty's over, but in the way I'm giving credit to what they accomplished. It's almost weird seeing Steph Curry do this and it not really meaning anything.
Yeah, that's actually a
Yeah.
good point. I think the biggest takeaway with the NBA right now is players don't like the play-in, but the NBA figured out a way to make the back half of the season interesting.
Yeah.
Because the play-in, what it does, it prevents teams from tanking.
Yeah.
Because by now, teams like Memphis would have just stopped playing John
Yeah.
Morant.
They wouldn't have
But
cared.
now that they have a chance to make the playoffs, it keeps the back end of the season interesting.
And now
So-
Zion Williamson is out now for a while as well because he had an injury.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, fractured finger.
Fractured fingers. So now there's an issue with that because they were looking to possibly getting
Yes.
in. So
Yeah.
now
Yes.
they've got an issue.
And honestly, the Phoenix Suns is a pretty big storyline if I have to add that in there. Given the fact that they were 8-0 in the bubble last year, barely missed it, which was very controversial, but going 8-0 in that bubble environment is what caused Chris Paul to come over, and now we see the aftermath of that.
Well, Chris Paul, it's funny you mentioned because for me, he is the MVP.
Oh, yeah,
Because
'cause
this
you
is-
wanna talk about value.
This is the
Yeah.
exact same team as last year, and he has them in the playoff run.
just like that.
But that's the power of Chris
And he's
Paul.
not even the most explosive player on the team. That would be
No,
Devin
he-
Booker.
he's just the smartest.
Exactly.
He's just the
and it
smartest.
seems like everywhere he goes, he is.
Yeah.
The expansion of these playoffs, basketball, baseball, football just added another week. As a fan,
which is,
it's a money grab.
No
I don't
doubt.
care what anybody says.
no doubt.
I'm an old school traditionalist. When you know what, baseball, you had 4 playoff teams or 6 playoff teams where the season meant something. When you have these leagues now where half the teams get into playoffs, I believe it diminishes the regular season more. Same thing in hockey.
I think when you say it's a money grab, and I'm not saying you're wrong. It's
By
just
the owners.
It's important to clarify through TV revenue. It's a money grab by the owners that it's an attempt
yes,
to get
as
more
well as,
TV
but it's
revenue.
also an extra game at home
and
where they're
vendors
getting-
and
right.
concessions, of
So-
course.
so, yeah. So,
but the
I mean-
TV revenue moves the needle
Well,
because
of course it does.
that's your main audience, right?
But from a non-TV standpoint as a fan,
Yeah.
I want my team to get into playoffs. But you know what? It's like Little League. Everybody gets in the playoffs no matter your record.
It waters it down.
Yeah, I mean, 16 teams getting into the playoffs for basketball or in hockey.
It's also going to depend, because in the NFL it was an improvement.
Right.
Here's the thing, though. If you make it through the play-in, you're still going to lose to the number one.
Most say cases,
you're still going to lose.
Which TV ratings don't like.
No,
but
here's the thing. TV ratings like it because now your team was on the cusp, but now you're watching.
Which is why they want to add to the playoff for college football.
I was going there.
Right, that's the same exact reason.
But do you think last year's World Series, although I know the Dodgers won, the networks were praying for the Yankees-Dodgers?
They've been playing for that every year. For like 5 years when they both became contenders.
So those who are not interested in the big powerhouse names, and I don't remember what TV viewing was, again, with shortened season, pandemic year, it's kind of hard to really get a true feeling.
No fans, right.
But if you don't have those marquee teams playing, if you got a 1 versus 16, and I'm not comparing it to the NCAA because we know 16s can beat 1s a lot in the tournament, but in professional sports, like you just said, the low seed generally doesn't beat the high seed in that playoff game. So, in my opinion, TV ratings don't always score, and it's a gamble for the TV ratings to have those extra games when you know the teams are going to be beat. People ain't watching.
Right. The Orioles aren't going to draw like the Yankees.
No. They won't. But it's actually a plus because what it does, it draws in those other fan base.
Maybe.
Last
year's World Series did not draw me in at all. Not because I'm a Yankee fan. Just didn't draw me in.
So you didn't root for the Rays as like the little underdog who could beat the Dodgers?
In the back of my head,
can I give you some uncomfortable information?
As an American League fan, 30 seconds of my brain, yes, possibly rooting for the American League.
It's an interesting
but
point.
Guess what?
Go ahead.
They weren't aiming for you anyway.
I'm a sports fan.
But you're also a baseball fan.
But you're out of the age demographic.
Oh,
they weren't aiming for you.
Aaron,
they were aiming. They were aiming for the younger audience anyway.
Aaron, you've been
baseball says they've already got your generation. There's no point to pull you back in.
There's a point in that too. Any future Aaron had with the Fan Action Nation or anyone else is now done. It's now done.
Why? Thank you for the time.
Now, I was going to say, I've done my purpose. I've done my work, fulfilled my purpose. Right.
My name is Aaron Absolute. You can find me on Instagram.
All right, we got to get out of here. Rise of the Fan. Aaron Phillips, maybe we'll be back next week. I don't know. Be sure to check it out. Huge thanks to Aaron Turner, Lisa Mascari. Be kind to each other because that's all we got. Boom, infringement. He may not like it, but I do. Take care, everybody. We'll catch you next week.